Study session of the council, Monday, July 8th, 2024, 6 p.m. Clerk, will you give the roll call, please?
Councilman Phillips,
Here.
Councilman Price,
Present.
Councilwoman Portis, Councilman Twitchell,
Here.
Councilman Bell,
Present.
Councilman Sedart,
Here.
Councilman Guy,
Here.
Councilman Gilmer.
Present. There being a quorum, I call this meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance. Councilman Bell, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, the agenda that we have tonight, I do want to add one item on the agenda with council approval is give the floor to the police chief. Where's the chief at? He still is upstairs, but when we get into business, I do want to add the police chief to the agenda. If no one has any objections, we'll let that stand. Okay. I got a small list. I'll try to go through the list as far as bringing in updates, where we're at on certain items. First thing is the wastewater. We do have an update. So the chief operator, Richie Miner, has issued a letter kind of telling us where we're at. So the parts have been ordered as of June 27th, 2024 for the wastewater for the bar screen replacement project, the auger at the wastewater facility. There is no definitive time to expect when that delivery will take place of the parts, because the parts are coming out in Germany. But as soon as those get in route and into our possession, then we'll let the council know where we are at on that. Next item, is there any questions on that? The water treatment facility. I did not get an update from our chief operator, Robert Morgan. We do know that after speaking with him today, that the second holding pond, or the second scraper unit that was working, is out of service now as well. So both scrapers on the water treatment side are out of service. So we're working on getting that expedited. We do have all the parts and everything necessary to go ahead and repair one side of that, and that's underway. As far as the other side, he's still going to have to go through and drain that tank and figure out what parts we need, but he's not going to do so until after we get the one side fixed and completed first. Update, the Meridian Waste leachate. They are starting bringing in their leachate water for us to process. They do have an amendment there. They are wanting to ask the council for the extension of hours from 6 AM to 6 PM versus just city working hours. And they'd be willing to cover the cost of the employee to be there for that. So the amendment I have, I just got it today and I'll forward it to each of you by email. We can't take any action on it unless we're under regular business. So you'll see that coming up July 22nd. So that's what it's in regards to. They're wanting to extend their hours. Approximately what we're looking at, just so you know, right now, currently on average per day, what they do deliver is about $6,500 a day that we're receiving so far for that. If they extend the hours, it's probably gonna be one or maybe two more tanks a day. But we can go over that more once we have that amendment in front of us to look at. Water distribution was just informed today that we are going to have to start purchasing some new meters, which we have already budgeted $50,000 to do so.
Still waiting on mine.
Yeah, so they're still, it's in the budget, but he wanted to bring me up to date that he's looking to buy some. And he's already reached out to the vendor and has made some arrangements to get some started, and we're gonna do that on throughout the year. The Georgia Street Corridor project, we already have COP funds expended and the project's already been completed. Right now, we have approximately $204,000 left to spend or not to spend is the question. So right now, we're paying interest on it, but we're also earning interest. So
And this is for what, Tim? I gotta see.
it's the certificate of participation bonds that we have, or certificates, they're not bonds. Certificates of participation for the funding of the Georgia Street project corridors, like
Got a little chemo ring.
yeah, $4.6 million issue that was passed in 2015-16 and got completed in 2020. There's funds left over in it. And the funds are in a money market account where we are paying interest on it and we are earning interest on it. It's still a net positive for us. So the fund's growing a little bit.
So you're servicing the debt, but you're
Yeah.
making enough money to cover that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So the question is do we see a need to expend those funds? Or do we see a need to go ahead and pay it back towards the principal of what we owe? There is a couple of things, I'll just throw it out there, you know, street department. We have to decide whether or not it's an eligible product for us for the Georgia Street project. But a new street sweeper, ours is really kind of dilapidated pretty bad. That's a thought
You're
process.
being kind.
There's also, the street itself is starting to need repairs already. There's cracks all over the street everywhere. And we have already purchased 2 asphalt sealer machines to rotate, to roll along and fill those cracks. And we'll have to buy product, but it's not gonna be $200,000 worth of product, but it'll probably be less than $20,000 or close to $20,000, but
I'm sorry. Is there any latitude with what we can use that money for?
it has to be associated with the Georgia Street Corridor project. So we'll have to really look at it and get a better idea from the trustees to see what we can spend that on, if we want to spend that. Otherwise, we can spend it back towards the principal and reduce our interest rate that or well, not the interest rate, but the debt service. So I want
That would be great for like the water plant or something.
yeah,
Where do we stand on sidewalks on Georgia Street?
There's a couple spots that need to be fixed that weren't.
that's an excellent idea, and that probably would do that. That wouldn't do those sidewalks. Cause we did a rough estimation of about $185,000 to do those sidewalks, so we can transfer those funds over to that, and that would be part of that
I mean,
project.
we could do sidewalks like all the way out to Joe's Jug on that one side. I mean,
Yeah.
I had some guy almost run me into a ditch the other day. I was walking over there and it's not safe, so you can make that argument from a public safety.
Not
issue.
wide enough. You
Right.
can't do it, it's not wide enough. Needs to be at least 4 foot, maybe 5. Yep.
Well, you know, it's just.
So right now, the community, back when this project initiated, they talked about, well, a lot of things, but one of the primary things was to do both sides of Georgia Street sidewalks all the way out, and they only really did the south side in a few spots on the north side. And it would probably benefit greatly to go ahead and hit those spots, working our way from downtown heading out west.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem spending money on something like that.
Let's send it on there.
Jim, you said something about problem with space.
Once it's, think wherever it's at, where the old gas station was, that's the end of the sidewalk. On both sides, because there's not enough road. To put sidewalks, because you got ditches and the property of the school and the property of the owner of Kroger, or what used to be Kroger's County Market and everything. And then you'd have to get all that. I think the left side goes what, half.
So this is it's really the light switch is flipping on here, because the YMCA has been awarded a TAP grant for a sidewalk project going from the high school through Kelly Lane up to the YMCA. And they're asking the same question they asked us if we would commit to a $15,000 match. To answer your question on space, the ditch, put in a culvert and cover it up, make it all solid, and then put a sidewalk on top of it. Wherever it's needed, if we did that. But we would have to really lay it out and get with an inexpensive engineer to kind of lay out the plans. Because I think the goal should be from this council, I firmly believe, starting from where we ended on 7th Street and head out, hit every sidewalk that needs replaced, replace it, and then keep on going, and eventually the money's gonna run out.
So I mean, we do have enough side on what would be the south side of the street to do that with respect to
Well,
the space requirements.
in front of
For the most part.
the strip mall complex where the county market is and
Yeah.
Tractor Supply, it's pretty narrow of a space, but we'd have to look at that.
Yeah.
Here,
Well,
we need to start in one spot. We need, no jumping around like they did before. If we're gonna start at 7th Street, we go until what we need. Cause there may be an emergency of something that's non-said,
Yeah, I agree.
but you start at one spot and go that way
Yeah,
and go on.
I agree.
Because they had jumped and fixed one here and fixed one there and then.
So
Right.
let's not get our hopes up too high. I'm on check with the trustees and see if we can use it for sidewalks. Make sure it's not for water lines, make sure it's not for storm drains.
You know, it's a
Or-
pleasant problem to have.
Yeah, but
but it's Georgia Street.
yeah,
so-
it is Georgia Street. It is part of one project. So,
And, we probably don't need sidewalks as bad in front of the, county market and Tractor Supply and Rain Tree Mall, because you can walk into the parking lot. and
Right,
walk.
you're walking, and there's no residential there anyway.
Right, but man, on 7th Street Plus,
So there's several of the sidewalks that are nothing but mud and dirt.
Yeah,
right, we really need to,
okay. So at this time, council, I'd like to ask the chief to present his presentation.
So we have 2 officers here that are present that last council meeting, they were voted on to be promoted to the rank of sergeant. And at this time, I'd ask for them to come forward.
Hang on this.
I won't believe, but look.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Sergeant. Thank you very much.
Unless any of y'all want to have any comments.
Yeah, I got work to do.
Oh, all right, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right. So I'll look in on the Georgia Street project with the trustees and see if we can. And maybe I'll have something ready. Before the council meeting, if not, at the council meeting, I'll let you know by email prior. Maryland Bridge project update, of course, it's kind of at a standstill right now. But they do have the sewer lines, everything's been reinstalled and placed and in working order.
I see they have forms up there getting ready to pour or something. Yeah, it looks like they're making work progress.
Yep. Do have a request, the owner at the corner of Sixth Street in Georgia. On the south side, it's the old Fowler Lumber Building. They want to have handicap parking right there, just immediately past their garage door that's on the side by the telephone pole. And they're requesting the council to include that into our ordinance, to include that a spot there for handicap parking for their facility. So we'll bring up an ordinance amendment for July 22nd. There is no update from the Missouri auditor. We do still send them requests for any information that they have. We do have an update for our financial audit. We do have a preliminary draft. There's a few things they want to look at and get from our attorneys and from the auditors, state auditors, before they finalize this. I've reviewed this. Couple typos were, some of this is a template, I'm sure, because it has the city of Maysville, Missouri in it.
That's
versus
why they call it
Louisiana.
a draft. Yeah.
So that's been good, but the good news out of this, well, let me first start off with the bad news. We overspent on our budget last year by $3,800.
How much?
$3,800. We overspent on our budget. However, our revenues exceeded what we budgeted by $350,000. So we're still in the net positive of $348,000. So the bad news, but I think the good news outweighs that.
Just a question, at some point, can we get a copy of that?
Yeah.
Okay,
So when they want to finalize this before,
Yeah.
because we get this out, then all of a sudden we get mixed up with bad numbers and good numbers or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's the same like the final copy.
So, and anyone who wants to look at this can look at this. I just don't want to put out a whole bunch of copies of it because
That makes sense.
it's not finalized, but anyone's more than happy to take a look at this. The police committee,
Yeah. Police committee met at 4:30 today and we finished just before we started the meeting. And we interviewed 3 candidates to send to the academy. And the committee would like for the council to approve tonight so that we could get them started in the academy. And, we have two recommendations. One is, Corey Hoffman, and the second one is Kathleen Alexandro.
Caitlin,
And
she goes by Caitlin.
uh,
Caitlin.
Caitlin, okay. Kate, excuse me. Yes, you're right. Somebody mark that up.
What is the last name?
The last one was Caitlin Alexandro. The committee as I said, the committee entered three. And, we chose two to send now. And I'll make that recommendation.
So as far as this goes, council, there no official action tonight except just verbally. I don't believe we need any. Because I'm gonna go ahead and accept your recommendation to go ahead and send those two to the academy. The academy is being funded through the state, what's the name of the?
Missouri Blue Scholarship.
Yeah, the Missouri Blue Scholarship. So the only thing that we are out is we pay minimum wage, we pay fuel cost and ammunition. So just like we did with the last bunch.
We're gonna send them with a
What about
vehicle they can use, or they're gonna.
What are they gonna do with the vehicle?
Yeah, we'll provide them a vehicle like we did last time too.
A police car?
We have two vehicles that we can use. We got a van and we got a Suburban. So,
Cause I thought, because actually the Suburban comes from the fire
Yes.
department, which was a good idea.
yeah,
And got rid of the other one.
right. So, yeah, so the council, that kind of jumps up to another thing, but we did swap out from the code enforcement truck with the police department for the Suburban. It benefits both parties on that. And so,
Yeah, and the school is down at Lake St. Louis, so it's a lot closer than where we were, and, it will help them
Yeah, that's
and,
only an hour.
hmm,
Yeah, that's,
yeah.
that's
quite a
one.
bit, quite a bit.
Question, what, are they committed to us then, once they go through this school, or? is there a
If
chance
they
that-
pass.
That-
They-
Which we're assuming that, we're hoping that they do, they are committed to us for the cost of the school. For 4 years. And if they do not fulfill the 4-year obligation, of course, they come under our new pay scale and, so forth, but, all the amenities that our president wants have. Then they have to pay it back. And they sign a contract to that effect.
okay. Any other questions? Okay. The bucket truck. It's been sent to be serviced and worked on. And we anticipate that truck to come back by hopefully in the next week is the tentative date.
Does it still look like a great deal?
Yeah, so we gave $500 for it and we anticipate about $7,500 for the hose. But they went in there and they're gonna rebuild a cylinder, replace some of the, I don't know what you call them, but slide pads on the boom. So the final bill is with everything in the purchase and including the hauling of the vehicle there and back instead of driving it, you're looking at $10,000. And that's what we budgeted for.
That's money well.
Yeah. Yeah. And the truck is certified from the manufacturer of the truck. And that's who's working on all tech.
Good.
The tire lease agreement, have you got any word back from them today?
I reached out to them today, so they said T-Mobile has to waive consent. So they're waiting on that response. They said it should be a couple weeks.
So that's where we're at on
They're
that.
not a check yet. that's what you're saying.
Right, we're still receiving rent fees from T-Mobile, but T-Mobile's got to sign off on the consent with them.
Is there any reason why they would not?
I can't, because their rent's not gonna go up, so
Right.
I can't
How you
anticipate
get
it.
that?
So speaking of that, US Cellular, their space up there where they have their tower located comes due for renewal in 2025. And they have not presented me with any offers yet of what they're willing to do. So more information to come later once we get that. The water rates update, the council voted last session, last year to increase the rates. And we are working on those rates and most of it's been done. Again, we found some of there's only one heavy industrial user of water that really hasn't been charged correctly, which we knew that anyway. So we're bringing that in line. And with that, we've contacted Amston, who is our billing software provider for our systems. And they are providing training for our employees on that system, everyone that's new and some that's been here already, going over the system, trying to get everyone on board. Did hire Kathy Sipley to manage the office. And she started this week to start managing the office. So she's going through the training and so forth. So we got 3 people and 1 part-time person right now working in that office.
Water
We're long-
department. Water department.
Water department. And we also still have our city clerk and our treasurer assisting wherever's needed. Kind of line them out, right? So council, the YMCA has asked for a commitment of $15,000 towards the TAP grant for the sidewalk going from the school to Kelly Lane, or excuse me, to the YMCA via Kelly Lane. And I don't see an issue with doing that. It's
Where's that money gonna come from?
state of Missouri. They're talking about the 15,000.
Yeah.
So the 15,000 come up from a variety of places. May come from the COPD or COP that we have. It may come from our contingency funds. It may come from our sidewalk programs. Here's the thing. It may not even come to fruition this budget. Our cost share may come up next year. So we'll definitely have our 6-month budget review in hand before it's available. This is a letter of commitment for funding, so they can go ahead and get started on this. They've been awarded the grant, but nothing's done until all parties, the Pike County commissioners, $15,000, City of Louisiana, $15,000, and the school district looking at a $30,000 commitment from the school district. So all those have to align for it to kick off. So
My question, school district has been communicated with.
yes,
Okay.
I don't know what the status is, if they gave a thumbs up or not. But by our meeting on July 22nd, if everything looks like everybody's a thumbs up on this, then I'll have a resolution ready for the council's consideration.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea, but it seems like, again, we're spending money that we don't, maybe not have, and I just don't want to see us get in a bind, is what I'm saying. We got some other expenses that are gonna be coming up, and
And I
it's
don't,
gotta be smart.
I don't disagree with you, but the whole project itself is a $600,000 project for the community, and our part
That's
of
great.
our part would be the 15,000. And I think we can swing that. I mean, I shouldn't say I think, I'm confident that we can swing that. But
Yeah.
if we have to maneuver our funds around, just like I stated from our last year's budget, we ended up being about 345,000 to the good, compared to what we budgeted. So more to come on that.
Yeah.
More consideration.
I get it. I just, a truck here, a sidewalk there, it all adds up there for a while.
Yep. July 3rd fireworks update. Anyone on the council watch the fireworks? Has anyone heard anything negative on the fireworks?
No.
Nothing. That was the best we've ever had.
That's what I've heard and I've said it myself. It was beautiful.
I thought it was very well.
Yeah.
So,
We watch it from the marina, you can see everything and from across the river, it was great.
The colors were just beautiful.
Did you hear anything about the music? Did they like the music?
yeah, I mean, they played it, the DJ down there, so everyone down there
I
could
could hear
hear
it from my building. I was
Yeah.
on the roof of my building,
Yeah.
so.
Fireworks, no complaints.
Yeah, I've heard nothing negative at all.
Mhm.
it. Okay. Cemetery, the dumpsters are in place, so here within the next week, and they're gonna start taking it down. It's with sadness that, John Finley passed away. Services are this Friday, so if anyone on the council, condolences or we'll send a flower basket and everything on the council's behalf, so.
I'll go to it.
So that's the only thing that probably gonna hold up the demolition. We're gonna kind of wait till the services are done. So probably start next week. Went and visited the fire station, remodeling downstairs, which was the old police station and the old jails, and they've gutted that and been working on this on their own and their association funds and everything. So really, it's a pleasure to see motivation with the guys in the department and wanting to improve what they have and so forth. So if anyone wants to go down and look at the fire station, look, see what they've done. It's kind of a disservice unless you've seen it, what it looked like before. But I'm sure they got pictures they'll share with you.
It's on my list.
Street department, they did some hot patching work, last week. These are large areas that's been coned off for a long time. This is the first time they've done hot patching work in the city for almost 2 years. They have not done this. So this is where they go and can get a load of hot mix, not cold mix, and bring it in. They have all the sites prepped and prepared, and they roll it out, put it in and roll it in. And they got 7th in Maryland done, 4th in Washington done, and 13th in North Carolina done. And they have 3 or 4 more left to do. So they've been busting their butts.
Yeah, they have.
Getting things done, so. Pike County Water District, their County Road 136 booster station that we signed a contract with is up and online and running right now. There might be some concerns that we're gonna have to look at as far as the amount that they're using or needing. We signed a contract to provide them with 40 PSI, and they are having some suction problems. So we don't know if that's a static pressure or residual pressure that we got to maintain, but we are looking in on that since it's new and online. We have 3 booster stations, one on North 79, one on County Road 136, and one down here by Dino that we provide to Pike County Water. One of those booster stations we own on North 79, the other 2 they own. Another item, I sent the council an email from Dave Johnner. He owns property in North Carolina and South Main Street. So it's the 2-story brick house and the vacant lot next to it. Yeah, just right there. You can look out the window and see it. Speaking to him, I was in my office about other matters, and I was asking about his cat infestation that he had in his house and how he's come. And he's talking about tearing it down. Because I heard that he's wanting to tear it down. And I said, well, we're trying to make all that space as much as we can green. And he said, you know what? He said, if the city would take it, I'll give it to you, both properties. He said, but we already have an estimate about $2,500 to tear, plus whatever the dumpsters would be to haul off, whatever hauling that we'd have to do on that. So if it interests the council, I can have a resolution or drawn up for July 22nd
Didn't he wanted to make sure it stayed green.
Yes, he wanted green space.
So basically it'd be a par. Yeah, to a certain.
Yeah, but it could also be kind of a linchpin for some of the other stuff we wanna do.
Yeah,
There.
we could put a pavilion down there.
Yeah.
Right, I'm curious, because, you know, we're looking at the old ice house, which has got to go.
Yeah.
We've got that house, and the vacant lot. There's another house next to that, if I remember right, that looks in pretty poor shape. Do we know who that is? But what I'm wondering is, knowing how the street goes through there, we've got ice house here, and we've got basically 3 lots over here. At some future date, could we shift the road so that it would be basically going through the backyard of those 3 properties? So that would give us more of a contiguous area for a park. So you wouldn't have to worry about the safety issue of people, kids, everybody, you know, having to cross the street to get to pavilion or to get to amphitheater or whatever we decide that we're gonna make in that ice house area. If we did that, would we be in trouble with Mr. Johnner if we made part of that property a street?
I believe the only concern that he really had is that it doesn't, but it comes out of our hands. Meaning that it's gonna be someone else profiting from it.
Right from it, yeah.
Well, we're not gonna profit from any of it, right? I mean, we're gonna utilize it for public use. I think that's the big concern, but I can verify with that. I imagine it's gonna be however we draw up the agreement
Okay.
with his input, so.
Because I'm driving down there, and I'm looking at it and saying, you know, if we just do a little like that, then people can use all that space as one big area versus having to constantly be worried about safety issues, especially with kids.
Well, one of the things I'm looking at doing is whether it's through the city or the LMC, both those properties next to it. Seeing if the owners, what the interest is. They may not have any interest. They may donate to the city, or they may do it at such a reduced cost that, you know, because right now, no one has 100,000 plus to renovate these properties. And by no means, I'd rather they be renovated and used. But they need to be marketed, and right now they're not being marketed for anything. And if we take them under the LMC or something, at least that we can work on marketing and trying to do something with them. With the ultimate goal, of blended it in, but if there's nothing that can be done with them, then we can utilize the space for greening up the south side.
Get all 4 of them, it would make a nice spot.
Yeah,
So that I haven't done a push on that yet with property owners, but there are several properties down there that want to approach in our big.
one thing at a time.
Right. Those 4 houses, shift the street, add the ice house, and you've got enough space that you could do an amphitheater and parking and other park, you know, type things as well, along with the amphitheater.
So that's the next thing that I have on my list is the old ice house. So the building is. And last year we hauled off a lot of the brick. And looking at taking the rest of it down. And hauling it off. So we gotta work on new pricing and quotes on that. Bring to the council what's gonna take. See how much we have in our demolition funds to go along to that.
One question I have, I hate eminent domain, but is that something we've looked at with respect to some of those properties? Just, hey, look, either clean them up or we're taking them.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we have Mary, having her looking at the process. There is a procedure for
Right.
doing this. Because once we're done, I mean, there is a cost associated with everything that we've done. And liens have been thrown on the property. Same gentleman, bought the old hospital, just so everyone knows. So his focus may be out there now, but we'll approach that. Mary's looking at that question. What is it gonna take? What process do we need to follow to?
I mean, because we've been screwing around with this now for
Hmm.
years.
Mhm.
And he still hasn't paid his property taxes, right? He's back on his.
I'd have to double
Arrears.
check. I have to double check on that. I couldn't really say that he
Yet
is.
now he's just bought another.
Yeah, so that purchase was made outside our ordinances too. So any transfer of property requires an inspection and occupancy and so forth. So notice will be given to the seller and to the purchaser of our ordinances about that as well. So. Same thing with Gertha Hodges. Everything's a go to tear it down. We're gonna get quotes again and pricing. And nothing has to be advertised as far as the declaration of a condemned building. It's already, all that's finalized. The only thing we have to do is go out and get comparative pricing for the services of tearing it down.
I've also noticed the house next to it. I think so, the windows have been knocked out and that's.
That house caught on fire. That house was under. Caught fire.
Yeah.
So it's been abandoned since that night.
So we have to go through the process. We got to post notice, put it in the paper, give the owner a hearing and see what he wants to do with it.
Both of those lots would be excellent places to build something new.
Oh, it would be.
Have the Hodges turned the house over to us?
No,
Are they
no,
indicating they are?
no response.
The roof is gone now.
No,
Yes, it is.
there's no response. I mean, there's taxes owed on it to the county and the city. We've been maintaining the yard, so there's costs that we're incurring for maintaining it. So,
We're maintaining a yard on a house that has no roof.
yeah, so we got,
You tell me
Yeah.
this is crazy.
yep. Well, that's for the neighbors more than anything, right?
I understand
But-
still. I mean,
But, so this has been in the works for,
so,
Yeah, it's gotta get.
it's been in the works for 6 years, so. And you'll have naysayers saying that we didn't do all we can do to save the house. Well, it's not our job to remodel, so. With that in mind, the glove factory's been deemed dangerous and a nuisance, and we've given notice on that.
It's still out on the property.
No, the glove factory, no, this guy that owned the ice house
Bought that one too?
bought that one or got it transferred in his name and he did a quick claim deed to somebody, an individual out of Bowling Green, which it's not a legal description of the property. It's a parcel you get from the assessor's page on the quick claim deed. So, we are looking on that one. Possibly, we do have the gentleman that bought the Miller Law Office building. He's expressed interest into that building.
I got a question. The guy with the ice house and now the glove factory and now the old hospital.
He's no longer the owner of the glove factory.
Okay. I'm just kind of wondering what he's trying to do since he's not paying taxes and he's not doing anything to fix the buildings up and yet he's continuing
You can
to.
depreciate the property.
I'm not for sure. I can't, I do know the glove factory, the county taxes haven't been paid. I can't say that he hasn't paid his taxes down here. I don't know on the ice house. And as far as the old hospital, the taxes are up to date on that. And whether he maintains that or not, I don't know, but.
Depreciates the property and takes it off.
But what I was getting ready to say with Glove Factory, gentleman is interested in maybe acquiring it. That has funding that can do some work with it. Otherwise, I'm gonna stay in close contact with him and see if he's gonna move along with it. Meanwhile, I'm gonna reach out to the EPA and see if they'll do an inspection of the building, of the tanks and stuff that they've had in there. with the chemicals and stuff for the glove factory, the tanning process and stuff. And see if we can get some help and assistance from them.
They used to make eggshell, sewer pipe down. Yeah, it used to be Tallman, the black are eggshell sewer lines. They used to make them down there.
So the same thing has been done with the funeral home. It's been deemed dangerous and nuisance. And right now, reaching out to a few individuals that have some good ideas to try to acquire the properties and market them to anyone that would invest into them. That's a kind of like a last ditch effort, but we really don't have no funds to tear down the funeral home at all. It'd be the structure inside would be one thing, but the stone walls
Again, remind me where that's at?
right up Third Street,
Okay.
about
Literally just up in the drugstore.
Okay.
Right behind the
Right behind the
drugstore.
drugstore.
Speaking of the drugstore, this is an aside. That awning down there is an eyesore. Is there anything being done about
yeah,
that?
it's been reported and
Okay.
the owner's been contacted.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
Other than that,
Oh, another thing, with the lawnmower, people call it the old, shoe repair shop on 7th Street. It's kind of falling apart too.
okay. So anything that you got those that you recommend, just forward them up to the chief. He oversees the code enforcement. So we'll get that. We'll put it on our list. It's a big list, but you all one at a time.
What to do with that building across from the gyms? They're on Fifth and.
So we're gonna put that up to notice.
Because he's picking up mail.
Yeah, so we started the process and then the new owners came in and they asked the council if to waive the liens, not necessarily, well, maybe the taxes, but whatever the liens we have on it. And at that time, we stated we may do that if you would sign off on a bond, a performance bond.
They had to do it like by the next.
Yeah, but I think they had to have that done by June
Well,
of this year.
But they never did enter into that.
Ah,
So it's time for us to go ahead and start that process on that one too, chief.
Cause it's falling in very from the inside. You know?
Yeah. roof come on.
Okay,
I'm worried about that funeral home, honestly. That, you take a close look at that building, it's gonna put a little stroll that direction.
And the archways and the windows are coming down.
Man, that is
My
dangerous.
building's following the owner. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just like this over here, everybody was fixing that, they wanted us to fix it. Not hard.
Yeah, still at some point, I think we gotta come up with some kind of strategy, and start getting this stuff to move more aggressively.
we just,
And I don't
we
know what
got,
that is.
one thing we gotta do, we just gotta follow due process and
Right.
document everything
Right.
and. Because
Progressive,
we might get,
enforcement.
I mean, if it's an immediate dangerous. To life and health and people are squatting in there, there's certain things that we can do, but. We gotta do the things that we can afford as well, but. So Bill 7222.
22.
Yep, 7222. Front and back, yeah. So the first section shows how it currently reads, the three sections. 20, 30, and 90, how it currently reads. And then on the second, if you turn it over, you can see the changes. Section 120, there's only one word that needs to be changed, because not in the corrected version, but in what's written. They just spelled willfully wrong, so that's a typo that we're going to correct on section 20. Even though the stricken is spelled right, but the original is not. Section 140.030, everyone have that in front of them? So all we're doing is we're adding a section and moving section B down to C and adding section B. So bequest donations or trust funds may be deposited into reserve accounts. The principal from these funds can be used for capital improvements or major repairs of the library, provided this is permitted by the trust. Any interest earned by these reserve accounts or trust shall be credited to the library fund within the city treasury to be used according to the purposes outlined in the trust. These purposes must be documented and recorded. So what this is doing, this is allowing them to take money out of they have a reserve account right now with approximately $103,000-104,000. And they can start investing in some CDs and some money markets and do whatever they need to do besides, you know. And if they needed to leave the reserve account in an accessible means for major repairs or improvements, they can do so. It kind of gives them more of a options, more tools in their chest versus right now, all money received for the library shall be deposited into the city treasury. So any interest or anything that comes from a trust or CD already says it shall go to the library fund with the city treasurer.
That's
Right.
the restricted fund, correct? The
No.
restricted library fund?
So right now, there's a reserve account and Charlie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Now, the Griffith will is in CDs, so that's restricted. However, the CDs produce so much interest. And those interests should be going to the city treasury for the library fund, but we do have a separate checking account called reserve funds. And where a lot of these funds have been going and paying, they've utilized it. They've been utilizing the city account, the fund account and their reserve account. Just because they named it reserve doesn't mean it's a restricted account. It's just Lucille Mary, is that right? Lucille, is a restricted CD in it and there's a trust assigned to that. So what we're trying to say is, we're not gonna take any money out of those reserves. We're gonna invest them into CDs and stuff that we can. But anything that's produced out of those CDs are gonna be put into the city treasury to be used for the library. All these funds are for the library, no matter what. So,
Okay, so I guess, and I was reading this
Mhm.
change. And would it be possible to change the word may and shall to must? And the reason I ask that is, and I'm not implying anything or anything, but last meeting, we talked about the concern about the future of the library and future generations and all that. May is a possibility, must is an obligation. And I think if we change those two words, it really emphasizes the fact that money must go to that fund.
so the only thing that's almost tying the board's hands a little bit. Not much, but let's say they do a fundraiser, for whatever reason, it's a donation. I mean, it says bequeathed, but does that mean all donations?
Well, then then it would seem to me, and I understand, I see what you're saying. And that was I spent a couple hours just like. And that was my question too, what do we consider a donation that goes to reserve? Or what do we consider a donation that goes to the city specifically for the use of the library? And I think in the procedures, the documented procedures that you talk about at the very end, you can write those in such a way to define those, okay? But I just feel more comfortable with must in there, just because it implies an obligation to do it. As opposed to just saying, well, we may do that. And, obviously there's a little bit of leeway or something, but again, for future generations, it implies that, or it doesn't imply, it states that money has to go to that fund. Because that's the money that's gonna be the future of the library.
Right.
And if we're really committed to the future of the library as an integral part of our city, I just think that I think those words have to be changed. Again, not necessarily for this situation, but for future situations.
Now, you're talking about paragraph B or paragraph?
I'm talking about paragraph B.
Yeah, because the thing is, the library board has full control over those funds. except for where it says state statute in this, all funds shall go to the treasury of the city for the library fund. Now, if it's a trust, it's in a CD and it's already set up that way. We actually have no control over that. I mean, when it's given to the library, or excuse me, yeah, given to the library and when it's set up at the bank, they have a copy of the trust and so forth. So the only money that the city gets is, library, the city gets is from the interest from those funds. So we can't touch those anyway. Even if we had a major repair issue that we had to do, we can't touch those. Whereas if they did that with all their bequest donations and trust funds, they may not be able to touch those. If the trust says that specifically, then we can't do anything about it. But if it gives the board an option of where they place that money or to use it, we're putting a restriction on them that they have to squirrel it away versus using it. You see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, and while, yeah, I think you can make that argument. I think if the trust is written in such a way to where it would be given latitude, and that's the board working with the people doing the trust to make sure that we, those are just minefields that you gotta avoid when you're writing the document. So I don't see how that would restrict necessarily the use of those funds by changing it from may to must. I just want to make sure that if people want to put that money into that fund, that the city's obligated, that they have to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. I can
And that's
see
why I make the change.
And
I can see that.
Charlie,
Discussing bequeath donations, whoever's bequeathing those donations may have a specific, they don't want to go into this fund, they want to go into this fund for a different purpose.
Charlie has.
Excuse me. Mayor has expressed it correctly, that the interest earned off of what I believe is common terminology, the special reserve account. That interest goes into the city treasury directly into the library fund and is used solely for operations, excluding salaries. Are we all using the same terminology that the Lucille Griffith will with the 2 CDs in it? That is what is being referred to as the trust. Is that correct?
so yeah, there's two accounts. You have a CD with a Mary Lucille, I believe. And then you have a separate checking account that's classified as a reserve, and they're two separate deals. They may be equally funded, I think, maybe. I have to look at that, because looking at the reports, I believe the reserve accounts is roughly $249,000 for the library. And that's taking into account the checking account and the CDs.
It's 277.
277, okay.
I think Cassie's got a real good point. I'm wondering if we could just add a phrase, so we go. Bequeath donations or trust funds must be deposited into reserve accounts. The principal of these funds will be used for capital improvements or major repairs of the library, provided that it's permitted by the trust. And then right there, if we added in, unless the donor requests a specific project.
And that's the donor request.
That's being done.
Unless the donor
That's
states
being
otherwise
done.
or documents
Mhm.
otherwise.
We're making a mountain
live with
out of a
that?
molehill.
Yeah, I think we're.
I can live with that.
All right, so I've already made the changes. So bequest donations or trust funds shall be deposited into the reserve accounts. The principal from these funds will be used for capital improvements or major repairs of the library, provided this is permitted by the trust.
So we're not changing it to must, is what you're saying? In other words, the way I see it is,
But what did I say?
you say shall. The way I would like to see it, and
Shall and must.
this is for me, any bequest, donation, or trust fund received must be placed into a reserve accounts, allowing the principal to be utilized for capital improvements on major repairs of the library. Any interest earned, such as reserve accounts, must be placed into the city treasury to the credit of the library fund for the intended purposes stated by the donor or executor, and must be documented and recorded.
And my
That
phrase,
creates the paper trail.
right, and my phrase comes after this is permitted by the trust. And I would add, unless the donor requests other projects slash uses.
Yeah.
That way, it's
I don't know.
Okay. I think, yeah, we can clear that up because I think these purposes must be documented and recorded, so. I think we won't be able to receive any funds unless we oblige by
all right, right.
whatever the bequest donor gives.
Right.
All right, so you'll see that.
So that
Change.
we are changing those to must.
Well, I'm gonna double check, because to me, shall is, it's a,
I know. but
I'll
when I was
let,
researching, put
I'll
that
let,
line.
I'll let Mary,
Yeah,
kind
let
of
her
come up,
decide.
let her go through that,
And
but I wrote those down, so.
I have my paper back, or if you want to scribble what I wrote, or whatever, but I want to have that.
Okay. Any questions on that?
We are.
Okay, all right.
And Tim, one more
So
thing.
the goal is to, as soon as we get this done, is to try to move their monies to where they see fit to earn better rates.
Yeah, because I see this very confusing. If we could consolidate some of this would be great. Is there any way we could codify in the deal? And I would say by adding a line C, that all operational expenses must be paid out of the general revenue account of the city as proposed and budgeted by the mayor and the city administrator, and approved by the city council?
No, that's all state statutes, how that's worded.
Okay,
Everything's worded, it's shall to be posited into the general funds of the city, earmarked specifically for library. That's in state statutes and our ordinances.
okay. It's just an idea.
Okay. All right, the next section, one, any other questions on that, council? Okay. All right, so the powers and duties, section B. So we eliminated the 5 days a week. And we kind of pulled it together here. The board shall have the power to appoint a suitable full-time librarian and necessary assistants to maintain daily operation of the library Monday through Friday and fix their compensation and so forth. So the addition is full-time to maintain daily operation of the library Monday through Friday. And with that being said, we're paying for that. It's,
That's why I added this. I wanted that to be
It's-
part of the bill, that we're
it's-
paying it.
it is.
Okay, that's,
It don't have to, I mean, it is now.
okay, that's fine.
It is now. Any questions on that? Charlie, any concerns on that?
No, thank you. We'll figure it out.
So the whole thought process is the city's making a commitment to fund a full-time librarian,
Okay. Okay, I'm good with that.
okay? All right, so those two will be brought up on the 22nd. 72/27.
You went faster than I was going.
Oh, sorry.
Back on 14009 D. Could we add something to the effect of with a minimum of 30 hours? Or something like that? Or is that being too specific?
It's probably a little bit specific, because I think once we find a full-time librarian, I imagine the board can find someone that's suitable and with some ideas and the hours, if they know what the library wants to do and to work on those hours. I want to give them on the hours, really. I want to give them freer range because they can work from 12 to 7.
Well, I'm not talking about saying which hours from noon to 7 or 11:30 to 7:30 or anything like that. What I'm saying is the number of hours per week, like 30 at the minimum of at least 30 hours a week. What I don't want to see is some future date. I'm really talking future date, like 20 years from now. Somebody saying, well, we have to be open 5 days a week, but hey, it doesn't say how many hours you have to be open each day.
Yeah.
We could be open
Well-
3 hours and we're,
We can probably clarify what a full-time librarian, I'm envisioning 40 hours a week.
yeah.
Yeah, so that would take care of
So
that.
if we can just put some reference to full-time, i.e. parentheses 40 hours per week. or 35 plus hours per week or something like that. I'm just,
Well, let's ask Mary this, because sometimes we can put in a lot of language. And what may hinder us, but let's ask for opinion on that, because. I can infer, and I think the lawyer can infer a full-time employee is 40 hours a week, you know what I'm saying? Let's ask Mary the question.
Just one last question on covering the costs, okay?
Mhm. Mhm.
Does that include benefits and all that too?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, 7227. This is dealing with, officers, appointed and elected officers to the position, so I'm looking at section, B under 115.010 to add the definition, appointed committee, commission, or board members are not considered officers under this chapter.
What would they be considered then?
They would be considered, well, they fall under their own chapter. This
Okay,
chapter is for elected positions.
okay, but I see we define clerical staff and professional staff. Maybe we need to add something there that defines that. I don't know.
No, so what that means is these are employees.
Okay,
They're hired. This down here, they're appointed for these committees or commissions, whatnot. So like the zoning commission, they have their own chapter.
okay, yeah.
They have, if I appoint someone to the fireworks thing, they just wouldn't fall under this classification. And Mary looked at these already, and so,
It was just more a question in my own mind as
Yeah.
anything.
so you do have to look for those specific committees or commissions or board members if there's anything that's applicable. The next one is the agenda items. That proposing. So proposing to. From step one and moving it down to step three. Is consideration of comments from the public regarding any item on the meeting. Any interested party may, upon recognition by the mayor, address such comments to the city council. So we've already had this. I'm just saying we should do our roll call, the order and invocation and pledge before we open the floor.
Yeah.
And then I added, underneath police chiefs reports, I added fire chiefs reports. And then under miscellaneous business, including comments from the public on any item discussed during the meeting.
Thank you.
Any
Thank
objections
you.
for that? Now to offset that from any negativity, because we want to be open and have a process dealing with complaints and stuff. So add under C, section 3, those matters submitted by a city resident with sponsorship of a council member or mayor with notification of the city clerk by at least 12 noon on the Wednesday immediately prior to the Monday on which the regular meeting is to be held, or in the event said Wednesday prior to a meeting is a holiday, then the city clerk has been notified by at least noon on the Tuesday prior to such holiday. So it's saying if you got something you want to speak to the council about, you need to be put on the agenda. You need the mayor to okay it, or you need a council member to.
Is there a process for that, or they just come in and say, hey, look, I want this on here and we sign it off?
Well, so right now, any things that gets added to the agenda usually comes through my office.
Okay,
But however, I don't want to be the only one at the council. And right now, it's set up. If you put something on the agenda. By that time, one person can do that. Any 3 council members, if they want to call a special meeting. Because usually a special meeting would have to go through the mayor. It'd take 3 of you to go to the city clerk and say, hey, we need a special meeting on this day and so forth. So basically what this is doing is allowing those citizens that want to address the council, we're giving them an avenue to do it. It's more formalized and documented
I think it's a great idea.
instead of just having an open mic night. And really, these are the meetings that open discussions could take place.
Yeah.
If a citizen wants to come and talk about something that's for the council.
Vote.
Yeah, it's a business meeting. Well, council, that's all that I have. We do have anything from any of the committees that needs discussed? Nope.
Kathy. Can you see it? Sure, I'm gonna try to set up a meeting for economic development.
Well, if there's
We can do that
nothing,
after.
if there's nothing immediate, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move.
You had a question?
Oh, sorry.
Just one. Can we set up some method, procedure to try to move ahead on some of these ideas for parks that we're looking at? The Highway 79 entrance and with the old ice house and that area. We've got two different areas. And be looking at how we go about funding those.
Yeah, we can, actually,
projects.
Aren't we?
mean,
So
so,
we discussed it tonight.
Yeah, but the problem is we really aren't. We're discussing it, but we have steps moving ahead, as in like the Highway 79 area.
We'll talk about it economic development. Okay?
We can't do everything overnight. We have to take it by steps. And
I understand.
I think that what we're doing
so,
is taking it by steps. I'm disagreeing with you.
okay, I understand, and I understand that. So the economic development would be the big avenue to go through. I've already told you what I've already done and got the ball rolling on with Mary looking at the properties.
Right.
And with Dave Johnner. And that's, I make sure I put that down as a resolution. Have that ready for us. I didn't see, you got it, okay. And along with the other properties to get a hold of that, but
I guess what I'm really concerned about is there any kind of procedure that we should be going about to try to allot money so that we have money for doing some work in those areas, whether it be trying to purchase the properties or condemning or whatever we have to. But the money aspect of saying, okay, how do we go about saying that we're going to be placing money into those areas so that it gets done?
so there is a process. The first thing we have to do, we got our comprehensive plan that it kind of addresses this.
Right.
Well, first thing that we need to do, and I mentioned it tonight, we need to validate all the property owners and see who's willing to deal with this.
Right.
And what type of money are we looking at from the basis if we purchase property or we donate property or if we give tax credits, through the LMC for those properties. But so once we have a good idea of what we can approach and take on, then we can start developing a cost associated with that. Then we start looking at where's our funding at, what grants, what avenues do we have? Right now, Nick's here and we're applying for any and every grant that we can. And if there's any grants that you're aware of or anything, let us
That's
know.
something that I'm looking at.
And we're looking at that. So I hope that answered your question, but
It's not that I don't, I heard what everything is going on tonight, and I'm encouraged. I'm just wondering, do we need to set it out so that people are aware that this is where we're heading? Don, you said several times that communication is really important.
Mhm.
And yet, are we letting people know that we're trying to do something to beautify and make it more accessible and more useful for the city? And is there a way to set that out so that it becomes obvious to a crowd of 60 people who were, with pitchforks the last time?
Well, that was a totally different situation.
But yeah,
But we need, on our PR side, we need to get it out there and know. get it out there and share with the public.
And I'm hoping by the next couple of our meetings, we'll have something for you to actually put out.
Yeah.
That's.
Because Mayor,
Very, very careful how you move on that.
I
but,
know.
It's beginning to sound like eminent domain to me, and that
No, I'm
ain't
not
gonna
talking about
fly
that.
anywhere.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a plan for development.
Yeah.
Doing it the right way.
so,
I think you know me well enough to know that.
My
So-
thing is that we're trying to communicate to people that things aren't just sitting still.
okay.
Right.
No, I agree. John, will you let everyone know when you have that scheduled?
I'll let everybody know as soon as I schedule it, and anybody wants.
And also, we needed with like 4 or 5 more people to come in compliance with the water grant, so we can receive that money.
Yeah, we're down to 4 now, right?
I'll fill one, I'll fill one on. I, the paper ones, I'll
Yeah.
get one to you.
No, it was sent to certain people.
Yeah, so where are we at on that next?
So we're still at 4. I was talking to Chase and he knows like 5 or 6 people. So he went and he hand delivered the service. And
Did he have good responses?
so he was doing that today. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay,
When do we have to have this done by?
There's not a
Oh,
specific
Okay,
deadline.
so you're this close to missing out on, who knows how much money.
Let's get it done, because in my experience in trying to deal with some of these grants, man, these deadlines are on you before you know it, and we're missing out on a lot of money because we haven't gotten this done.
so there are good things happening and people may not be aware of it. I need to probably help share that. You know, once I think the deadlines go past here before the governor signs off on the budget, but which is good if he doesn't, or if he does, it's good either way. We got $1.125 million coming to us to improve our infrastructure for the water system west side of town. So that's a big, there's a lot of things going on with the wastewater, the street department, the streets, sidewalks, you know, working on the sidewalks and then trying to beautify the riverfront and do all this stuff. There's just a lot of moving pieces and it doesn't seem like much things get done, but there's a lot
Going
being,
on.
there's a lot being worked on. But we can do better to communicate that. All right, motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor, yay?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
You need to